So we're back, and this is part 2 of the sprint video. I'm be covering a few other drills, movement prep drills that I would do before directly getting into sprinting. And first we have the A-skip drill. So here is focusing on knee drive, bringing that knee upwards. And another thing that's important, you want to make sure you're flexing that ankle up at the same time that your knee is being flexed. It'll feel more of a cohesive and fluid movement once you can get that down. And on top of that, opposite arm, opposite leg movement. You want to match those together too. And before I get into these, I like to do a little pogos before I get into them. Work on that elasticity in the ankles, actual fluidity. Next is B skips, right? The difference between A skips and B skips, you're gonna extend your knee out, or you're gonna extend your lower leg out a little further to focus on the snap when you're snapping your leg back through a cycle when you're running, right? But not too far. You don't want to completely straighten your leg out while you're doing these B skips, because I feel like I've done that before in the past, and that doesn't teach proper form. Because when you're sprinting, right, you want to bring that, you want to overextend your leg during ground contact, and that's how you hurt your hamstrings and adductors, which I've experienced previously. And next, we're getting into C skips. Sorry, I got retainers in. Got to keep them. But here, focusing on opening up the hips, making sure your hips are right. Here, the main thing is you don't want to twist your torso or twist your lower abdomen to ensure that you're getting that. Ensure that you're opening up your hips. This should all be based on hip strength and hip mobility and flexibility. Bring your knee out as far as you can, without twisting. And once you get better, you need to also be working on your mobility and flexibility. I'll be getting into that, more so into the specifics of that outside of my warm-up. But that's very important. And here, I think I would work on bringing my arms up through the cycle as opposed to across my body, to get that fluid movement across my upper body and lower body for fluid movement. And now we have some wall drills. I say the main thing here is with the switch, right? You want your leg to be straight and in line, the leg that's in contact with the ground. You want that to be straight with your torso. And at some point during that switch, right, it's basically just a switch and replace. You want your leg the leg that's moving or the leg that's up. You want that to mirror while you're switching. You want to mirror the leg that's switching from the bottom position to the up position. Now we have a double switch. Here we're focusing on the doing multiple rounds of switches at one, or before we pause. And that's another thing. The isometric hold at the top is important. I think that's a good thing to emphasize, because that's going to be important when you're sprinting as well. And now going into some of these sprints. I wouldn't call these full-on sprints. I call these more these strides, since this is only the second time I've sprinted in a while within that week that I did do sprints. So I was focusing here more on trying to focus more on my form. Again, making sure everything's all right. And with this one, I go into it with a little bit of a skip, walking into it. I'm not working on these sprints with starts. I think that comes down later down. I'll implement that into my training down the line once I'm ready for it. But I have the code and spread about 40 yards to try to guesstimate it. Not not trying to lie to myself or anything. And no, I did not time these. I don't know what my time is right now at the moment. But like I said here, the focus is stride length and stride frequency, but really just trying to maintain good form. If you're like me and you haven't really been sprinting for a while, you want to go running full speed before you've introduced this action to your body, because that's how you will get injured. Sprinting takes a lot of energy and effort. It's a total body effort. It takes all the effort you have. So if one thing's out of line, it's going to lead to other problems when you're sprinting, injuries, other stuff. So I want to be very careful with this stuff. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but I want to be careful with how you do these workouts because you can get injured. I'll probably go into that later on. But here, you're going to take at least a minute. I count in my head because, I didn't have my phone on me because that's what I'm using to record. But break for at least a minute and a half. So for here, we're going for quality rather than quantity. This isn't really conditioning. We're really trying to tax your body, right, and get it to remember the quality movement of the sprint. I'll probably get into where I learned all this stuff from down the line. But here goes the second one. I'm not recording a break for the rest of these reps, but breaks are important. And as I go into these, right, I'm realizing, I should work on more of that rolling action before I sprint. So rather than doing, I would actually do a little bit of those skipping starts first, and then slowly that rock back and roll through with that first foot, and then get into that stride. And at the end of the stride, don't slow down. Let your body come down to the walk like I do there. You want to let your body, don't tax your body by trying to slow down at the end. And that one was a little better. So the extension of the leg, I find, is like probably one of the most important parts for me, and what I need to work on to get better, at least in my form in my sprint. And because that's where the ground contact really is affected, I think, is by that extension period. When your foot hits the ground, and you're enacting the pulling motion of the leg. And I know the video's ended by now, but I would say you should focus on really, you want to focus on total body control and form when you're doing these. All right. Just finish with the first, this is me at the end. Just finish the first, that's like the end of the first sprint workout. I got a few more workouts I'm coming with after that. And just wanted to give y'all a nice little, selfie because I ran out of footage or whatever. That's why I did that. I just felt like doing something goofy. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Salute to everybody that's part of the club. Thanks for watching.